Located in Hermitage, Pennsylvania, at the crossroads of routes 18 and 62, Shenango Valley Mall would open in 1968. In 2017, it would become one of the poster children for the decline of the shopping mall when both Sears and Macy's vacated simultaneously. SVM would default on its loans the following year, which would kick off a 7-year battle with the city to demolish the dying mall, which Shenango would eventually lose in 2024. But before the mall became a thing of the past, we traveled here to get a glimpse of its empty corridors, as well as something few shoppers know about. For hidden away, there is a vintage, untouched wing straight out of the 1970s. If you know Ruin Road, you know we value our privacy. But in our personal life, it's not always easy to maintain. Whether we know it or not, sites will mine our data like full name, email, health records, and more, which they will sell to scammers, spammers, and anyone else who wants to snoop. That's why we started using Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura shows us which data brokers are selling our personal information and automatically submits opt-out requests on our behalf. This not only reduces the amount of spam you'll get, but protects against hackers who can use this information to gain access to our social media, bank accounts, and other sensitive information. Aura also provides a ton of other features bundled into one easy-to-use app at an affordable price. You get antivirus, VPN, password management, parental controls, identity theft insurance, and more without needing to bother with different apps. We all have one or more of these tools already, but not having Aura is like locking the front door and leaving the back door wide open. And if you're a regular viewer, you'll know how often that happens. Like 24-hour security, motion sensors, and guard dogs, Aura is always on, doing the hard work of keeping my info safe so I can focus on other tasks with peace of mind. Relaxing. Ruin Road values our privacy, and we also value yours. Go to aura.com/ruinroad to start a free 2-week trial, also linked below in the description. In the early 1960s, the movement of business away from what was then Hickory Township's downtown would begin and culminate with the March 13, 1968 grand opening of Shenango Valley Mall. Before the mall opened, this was mostly a rural area, with Route 18 still being unpaved. In a unique development, the owner of the land, George McConnell, would lease his former dairy mall turned driving range to the developers, Crown American, to build the 514,000 square foot mall. It would open with 3 anchors, Sears, W.T. Grant, and J.C. Penney as the centerpiece. In fact, they entered an agreement with Penney's that the chain would have say over any development of the entire mall back in 1967 to get the department store to come to SVM. In 1969, as part of a nationwide recall, a novelty snack set called Lefton at the Duet Card and Gift Shop inside the mall was pulled after it was discovered that the Japanese dishes could poison food from the high amount of lead on the dish glaze. In 1971, 3 teenagers involved in a string of local car thefts would be arrested inside the mall. Pittsburgh Pirates players Al Oliver and Gene Clines appeared at the mall to sign autographs and hold a baseball clinic for local Little League players in 1972. That same year, people were arrested at least twice for heroin possession inside the mall, and another man for LSD. But in 1973, during the holiday season, a woman came to police saying she had managed to jump out of her moving vehicle after two men abducted her and her son from the mall parking lot. The boy would be found stabbed inside that abandoned vehicle, but managed to recover, and his mother was charged in the assault. That same month, a $300,000 renovation and expansion of SVM was announced, where the concourse's lights, planters, and fountains would be updated, and a 25,000 square foot expansion was added. In 1976, W.T. Grant would close and Strauss department store would move into the vacant anchor. They would rebrand to Kaufmann's in 1986 and eventually merged into Macy's in 2006. In 1977, a second expansion would be completed, where a warehouse area between the Penny's and Sears would be converted into a rear wing, adding about 15 new storefronts. In recent years, that northern hallway would gain notoriety after it was rediscovered as a vintage gem. In fact, it took me a few times to figure out how to get into this section, which is now only accessible via the bathroom hallway and is used as an employees-only area. When the mall would be renovated yet again in 1997, it was noted that just two businesses were left in the north wing, as it did not get much foot traffic due to having no anchor store and being off the main walk. At that time, talks to convert this area into medical offices were discussed, but in the end, it was simply closed off with the addition of a single storefront, leaving a beautiful vintage wing hidden behind it. At this time, the rest of the mall was turned into the bland white design, and the large fountains stretching between the Sears and the Penny's were removed. Throughout the 80s and 90s, relatively little of note occurred at the mall, apart from a 1989 appearance by Sesame Street actor Emilio Delgado. But Shenango Valley continued to be a top performer for Crown, and in 1999 it was announced as the second highest sales increase at just over 24% gain from the previous year. Crown would merge in 2004 with the Pennsylvania Real Estate Investment Trust and sell SVM along with four other malls at a nearly $1,100 million deal. At this time, the occupancy rate was noted about 90%, but the downfall of Shenango Valley Mall was about to begin.
There are some serious concerns tonight in Mercer County about the future of the Shenango Valley Mall. Last Friday, Sears announced it was closing.
Today was Macy's turn. The company says it's closing its store at the Shenango Valley Mall along with 67 others across the country.
After seeing sales drop over the holidays, Macy's announced Wednesday that it has either closed or will shutter 68 stores and eliminate 10,000 positions at a time when shoppers are going online to buy almost everything.
One of the people told me that they won't know for 3 more weeks. So, 3 weeks must have come early.
Just last Friday, Sears also announced that it would be closing its doors to more than 30 of its stores. This now setting the stage for more than 200 combined Macy's and Sears locations to close this spring. When I asked shoppers Friday night, they were optimistic that big-name stores like Macy's and JCPenney would help them all survive.
Any closure is a detriment to the mall, but down at this end, the other end with Macy's and Penny's being there, I hope the other parts will stay.
The Shenango Valley Mall general manager tells us this news is disappointing, but mall management is seeing it as an opportunity to turn the mall around. They say they have a few stores already in mind for the space.
It's sad. I grew up here and have shopped here all my life, and there's just, we were just inside looking and there's nothing there.
In 2009, the new owners announced bankruptcy and entered into a receivership. They attempted to sell the mall, but were unsuccessful. After Macy's and Sears closed, the city refused to lower the property value and its owners would default on the loan in 2018. It would be sold in a tax auction for just $50,000 a few months later. The new owners would be taken to court 4 months later over unpaid rent and taxes, along with the mall's general disrepair, and the mall was taken from them and given back to the family of original developer George McConnell. 23 of his descendants formed GFM 23 and began working with the city on redeveloping the property. They found their plans hampered by the original 1967 agreement with Penny's, who did not want to see the mall demolished, and a 5-year legal battle between the two began. In 2022, GFM 23 would sell the mall to Butterfly Holdings, who kept the case open, finally winning against Penny's the following year, in which the case went all the way to the Supreme Court. The new owners ordered Penny's to vacate in just 10 days. The retailer basically told them to piss off, staying for an additional 2 months.
A long-standing shopping center in the heart of Hermitage will be coming down this year.
That's right. The Shenango Valley Mall will be reduced to rubble once the remaining tenants leave the property.
In conjunction with the city of Hermitage, the owners announced demolition of the mall would commence following Penny's closure, and a new mixed-use open-air town center would begin. What was once the forefront of a newly developing community is now seen as an eyesore. It is with an ever-increasing frequency that our malls are being done away with, turning the history and beautiful architecture of a bygone era into hastily constructed modern mixed-use storefronts. Maybe one day things will turn around, but for now, all we have of Shenango Valley Mall is the memories.